covering the GOP convention here in the beautiful Tampa, Florida area. We are talking to Congressman James Lankford, Republican of Oklahoma. Congressman, frequent guest of NRA News. Thanks for coming. Good to see you live in person.
I'm glad to be able to be here. Nice, humid, sunny Florida.
Yeah, right, exactly. So someone just walked by. We're in Radio Row, and they said that with your voice, you could do any one of these radio shows. Do you have a broadcasting background?
I don't. I did about 6 months of radio in college and absolutely hated it because I was sitting at a tiny little radio station actually spinning records at the time.
Right.
And probably it was only myself and 3 of my friends listening at the time. But no,
Yeah.
I don't think I should probably do a lot of spinning records and DJing.
Not your thing, no problem. So we're happy to have you in the halls of Congress. You're a frequent guest of ours talking about Fast and Furious, and we've been talking to a few guests here talking about the issue. What has to happen in Fast and Furious for you to feel personal satisfaction and satisfaction for the Terry family?
First off, we've got to be able to get the facts and information out. The IG's report is pending any day, they say. That has been turned over and is now being checked for grand jury issues, executive privilege issues, and then the IG will then determine whether he's going to sign off on that. I want to see recommendations come out. What do we do from here? One of my lines of questions for Eric Holder when he was in front of our committee was, this is what the FBI does when they go through the process of an undercover investigation. This is what ATF does. It's completely different. It's very loose, not near as structured and organized as the FBI process. And my question to Eric Holder is, why does the FBI have this very formal process that people respect, and ATF has this very loose process that everyone suspects? Both those agencies work in your purview. Why don't you fix that? And he said, well, that's the kind of thing we want to work for. When I talked to the IG about it, I said, I want to know if there are recommendations coming out that we can fix this to make sure it doesn't continue to happen.
Here tonight, you're of course you're supporting a Romney-Ryan ticket. When you look at the last 4 years and then you look ahead to the next 4 years, what would a Romney-Ryan win do? But what would an Obama re-election do to this country?
Well, the main thing an Obama administration will do that people aren't paying attention to right now is Supreme Court justices. We watched the Obamacare decision come out of the Supreme Court. We're very aggrieved by that, and we have a quote-unquote conservative court right now. If he gets 2 more Supreme Court justices, that court has changed for a generation on it. So the first things first, the Supreme Court is essential for us keeping basic liberties. Excuse me. The second thing is that you're talking about someone being in the White House with Romney and with Ryan that are avid sportsmen. Paul Ryan comes to Oklahoma. His wife's from Oklahoma. His wife says all the time they come for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. Paul says, no, we don't. We come for deer season, turkey season, and duck season.
Is there a noodling season?
There is not a noodling season, but he's been there. He ribs on us all the time that he's the only one of us that's actually gone noodling. And I said, you know what, I know enough not to stick my hand in a dark, muddy hole in some creek, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, he's an avid outdoorsman. It'd be a great asset to be able to have somebody like that who really gets the sport of hunting and what it's like to be outside and to raise your kids. He's taking his kids deer hunting. I mean, he gets it in that and understands this is not some crazy extremists that are out there. This is real American values in what we do. So yeah, that'd be a great asset to have in the White House.
Can we talk about energy issues for a minute? Because there in Oklahoma, you have a lot of natural resources to offer the country. If the EPA and the federal government will get out of the way, how much more could you be contributing, and your neighboring states too? Very energy-rich area.
Oh, it's a huge. Our economy in Oklahoma is a strong energy economy. Let me give you just a couple examples. Last week I met with a group of union pipe fitters that are furious at the president right now because months ago he stood in Cushing, Oklahoma and said, we're going to permit and expedite a permit for the southern leg of the Keystone Pipeline. The northern leg, we're still going to study even more. But the southern leg, we're going to expedite this and get this done. Well, America heard that and assumed it was done. That's not true. A week later, the administration released a report on the burrowing beetle in Oklahoma and shut down the Keystone Pipeline. It's really not occurring in Oklahoma. It's been completely shut down by the administration, even after the president said we're going to expedite it. He's really not expediting and he's still stopping it. What does that mean? Well, Cushing, Oklahoma is significant. It's the reason the president's there is because it's the crossroads of the nation for pipelines. When people talk about the cost of West Texas Intermediate crude, they're talking about Cushing, Oklahoma, actually. That's where all of that oil comes through. It's all stored there in these massive tanks and can't get out to refineries. The price of gas goes down when that oil goes from Cushing, Oklahoma in greater quantities to refineries. So this is a very big deal, and people should pay attention when the president says one thing and his administration does something completely different behind the scenes. The more we can do production of oil and exploration for oil in federal lands, it's a bigger deal. You can see a lot of areas in North Dakota and in the West where you see private lands where there's this great increase in development, and you see federal lands right next to it with no development. The reason for that is the bureaucratic red tape. It's just not worth drilling there.
But you also look at North Dakota and you see the low unemployment, and you would imagine you would want that in the rest of the country. It's such a great success story.
Yeah, you would. Oklahoma has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the nation, but North Dakota is even lower in that. They actually have a negative unemployment rate there. They have 11,000 people on their unemployment rolls, and they have 22,000 job openings listed in the state. Negative unemployment. If you went to Dairy Queen or McDonald's, you'd be paid $15 an hour, and most likely, if it's in the western part of the state, get a $1,000 signing bonus to work at a fast food restaurant. That's what employment is like in an energy-rich area. And so people from all over, in fact, the last time I flew up to North Dakota, there was a young man right behind me who was a plumber who was flying up to North Dakota knowing he's going to land a job somewhere because he was unemployed in California, and he's on his way to go hit a job in North Dakota. That's where the jobs are. And if people want jobs, the jobs are available, but they're available in energy-rich areas where they can actually drill.
Isn't that such a great example of the fallacy and the folly of you didn't build that? I mean, right there alone, we've been talking to members of Congress, lieutenant governors, governors, whose constituents are saying, why would the president say we didn't build that? Because we did build that. But when you talk about stories like this and success stories like that, it really does belie that comment.
Yeah, it does. In fact, Governor Fallon, who spoke last night from my state of Oklahoma, gave an illustration of Harold Hamm, who is the owner of Continental Resources. It's an oil company that's a major player in North Dakota and Oklahoma. He started in a very poor family in central Oklahoma, no running water, out there kind of family on it, and then worked very hard, scrapped his way through, got his first well, and is a geologist. He just studies the ground. He just works and studies and researches and finds ways to do it and experiments, and has one of the greatest oil companies in America now. Again, that's not a true American story. That doesn't happen in other parts of the world. Other parts of the world, if you're not a Saudi prince, you have no hope of ever tapping into that. In America, this is an economy where people can go try, experiment, and do it if they'll go to work. Now, what the president wants to say is, the government built the roads, the government built the schools, so you didn't do it. So I asked the question, why isn't everyone a Harold Hamm? They all had the same access to the same roads, the same schools, everything else. One is that guy really worked hard, and he actually did the research and took the risk, and it's paid off for a lot of people, and there are hundreds of people employed in Oklahoma because Harold Hamm took the risk.
Tell us about your district.
I'm in the 5th District of Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma City and 2 counties off to the east of it, Pottawatomie County and Seminole County. 750,271 Oklahomans in it. And it's a phenomenal district. Aerospace, biotech, engineering, research, energy. It's a really diverse area. And Oklahoma City is actually the lowest unemployment rate in America of any city of 1 million or more. And so it's a great place to work.
How excited were you at the NBA Finals with the Thunder making it? That must have been amazing for your area.
It was great to be able to see Oklahoma City Thunder. Being here in Florida, I had several conversations with Floridians about the second best team in the country after losing to the Heat. But it was a great season for them, and they really match up the personality of Oklahoma City extremely well. Hard-working young guys that just really want to play ball and have a good time and do a really, really good job and work hard. So, yeah, it's fun to watch. You watch KD and you watch Harden and you watch Westbrook and Serge Ibaka and some great guys.
That's awesome. Congressman, thanks for your time. It's good to see you here.
You bet. Glad to be able to be here.